I think like an American. I'm not ever optimistic about the government getting involved in the free market. I think the best way to actually what caused this, in my view, ultimately, was the government getting in the way of free trade. And President Trump, in my view, and I'm a Republican, but I will say I think it was a big mistake for him to start messing around with a very complex supply chain. And so when you discourage imports from China, and then you start to encourage them from Taiwan and Vietnam and elsewhere, because we don't have enough chip making capacity in the U.S. Um, all of a sudden, we got too dependent on one or two suppliers outside. So, uh, in my personal opinion, I think that the government should just stay out of it and let the free market work. Because if you give the free market time, it will meet the need. It always does. It always has, and it always will. And so I don't think a government stimulus would help in the US. In fact, if anything, you could argue a $2 trillion stimulus will stimulate more vehicle demand, which is not what we need right now because we have a shortage, right? So at this very moment, we're not going to be able to make enough vehicles. We need to kind of catch our breath here a little bit, make the vehicles that we can, and hope that we can get through the next few months. I mean, a lot will be different. I don't know how much it'll be different regarding international trade. That will be interesting because President Trump took a policy that was very counter to traditional Republican policy. Republicans usually believe in free trade and they don't like tariffs. President Trump was not that way. President Trump imposed all these tariffs and he got really involved and I think put the government's sort of fingers into international trade. I don't know what President Biden will do. I don't know if he'll follow President Trump's policies and put tariffs on not just China, many countries, right, all over the world, or whether he'll dismiss those tariffs. I think that remains to be seen. And I hope that he takes a different approach, but I don't know. Well, California for sure. I think it's the Air Resources Board, California Air Resources Board. I always say CARB, so I forget what it stands for, but California is the biggest market in the U.S. I think they have almost 1/5, maybe it's 1/6 the U.S. population, right? So they have had the most stringent exhaust requirements for years. So if you're an automaker and you want to sell vehicles in the U.S., you have to meet the California requirements because it's 20% of the market. And because it's the toughest to meet, they sort of drag the rest of the country with them, right? Even though we have federal government mandates and different state mandates, California is the toughest. So by definition, because it's so big, if you're selling cars, you have to meet that California requirement. So yes, absolutely. CARB, California Air Resources Board, is definitely driving a lot of this.